Flash is able to irradiate at will. He's got a fleet of about 5 science vessels running, and Xavier's inability to keep Flash's science vessel count low is yet again going to cost him, I feel, this match. And I feel this is Flash's game to lose now. I don't think it's, I think it's possibly, it still possibly might be Xavier's game to win, and Xavier once again sacrificing a couple of scourges carelessly. And I have to say, 16 minutes into the match, and he's not killed a single science vessel, and that really is appalling. He didn't even manage to kill that dropship, I believe, or maybe he did take it out before. While it was off screen, Flash has now got about 6 science vessels there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, he's got about 6 science vessels, and he's taking control of the map, completely able to irradiate at will, wander around, picking off Xavier's Defiler. Xavier managed to get a Plague off, and I think since Game 4, Xavier has realized the value of that Plague. He is teching Plague a lot earlier than we saw him in that game. In Game 5 and 6, he has gotten his Plague up earlier and used it, but unfortunately, it's not going to work out for Xavier, and it's going to be too little, too late, and Flash has taken control of this game now. And I think Xavier, in my view, has made probably a couple of mistakes. I think he could have been a little bit bolder and gone with a 12 hatch to begin with and scouted aggressively to make sure his opponent didn't catch him off guard. I think the other thing Xavier could have done, I didn't think he needed to go for 9 pull. I think he could have gone 12 hatch. And I think the other mistake that Xavier has made, and he should have gone for his triple hatch rebuild. I think he should have gone for it. And the other mistake Xavier has made is just not having enough scourges and not having them and using them in the right way, in the right time. I suppose it's not so much so calling, I don't think a mistake is the right word to use for it. I think it's not so much that Xavier made a mistake, it's just that his play wasn't perfect. And the way Flash is playing right now, a Zerg player needs perfect StarCraft to take him down. Xavier's sending a massive group of Zerglies to try and pick off those Marines. Flash, another couple of dropships going in for another drop. He managed to kill 1 science vessel, his first science vessel kill of the match, I think. But that drop is going to come in and really devastate Xavier, and Xavier really fighting a rearguard action here against Flash, and that drop is going to come. Xavier has got a sunken in position just for this kind of eventuality, but Flash has got a lot of troops there, as well as a couple of siege tanks, so that sunken is going to get taken down. He managed to kill one of the siege tanks with that sunken, well placed sunken by Xavier there, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough, and Flash once again using his, and why do Terran players not do this more often? And even Protoss players, we saw Stork limp against Jaedong, not using drops at all really in the series against him where he lost, and this is really what Xavier managed to get a swarm off now to protect that lurker, and he's going to once again be able to defend that, but he's lost the extractor meanwhile, so he's only getting 2 gas. He's down to 2 gas Zerg versus I believe a 4 gas Terran. Ouch, that's all I can say. Ouch for Xavier, and really this game is pretty close to being finished. Xavier is pretty close to being overwhelmed here. Flash has just taken such a massive lead in this game now, and really that's all a player like Flash is need. You give him a whiff of an opportunity, and he will barrel through. You leave a crack in the door, and Flash will break it down, and that's exactly what he's done. Another of Xavier's lurkers getting irradiated, and really I have to say Xavier's science vessel kill count in this game has been really low. Flash really hasn't had to worry too much about his science vessels, and he seems to be able to wander the map around at impunity with them, and in this sort of form I think it's going to be tough for any player to stop Flash. Xavier hasn't played bad StarCraft by any means, and I think the most we can say is that his only mistake has not been guessing everything right and playing everything perfectly, although I think it's fair to say that his Scourge use and micro does leave a lot to be desired at this level of play, at the level of play that he's playing at. Doubtless, I'm sure many a lesser Terran player would have been overrun by the level of skill Xavier is displaying. But I think I'm still hopeful, even though I think there's signs and portents here, and I'm hopeful for Xavier's recovery. So Flash yet again, this time trying a drop at the new expansion that Xavier's setting up at the 6 o'clock base. Xavier defends it successfully this time. He's got a couple of Sunkens up, and he had a couple of Scourges as well, so he sends a couple of Zerglies in, so he managed to defend it successfully this time. And Xavier trying to get Flash to concentrate on defense. Flash has got another expansion up and running, this time at the 9 o'clock base, but really Flash has just got so many troops that he can be everywhere and attack everywhere, and now Flash heading in, he's irradiating the Defiler, and he's got a big bunch of science. That would have been an excellent opportunity for a Plague for Xavier, but unfortunately he didn't have the energy to do it, or wasn't aware of those science vessels in time enough to cast that. Defiler dies, the swarm wears off, and now Flash is going to be able to waltz in and take those forces out. This time Xavier does come in with a couple of Scourges. Flash's impunity finally costing him a little bit, and he's been forced to irradiate that Mutalisk, and Flash coming in with a group of Medic Marines trying to take this expansion down. Xavier has got a couple of Sunkens up, he's got more Sunkens building, he might be able to save this expansion. Another Sunken pops for Xavier. He's brought Zerglings up as well, but actually he's not, because those things that were building were just creeps, and they weren't turned into Sunkens yet, so Xavier's going to lose, unfortunately, this hatchery. Those Sunkens and expansions coming a little too late for him, and that Knight is coming a little bit too late. And I think this was Xavier's last throw of the dice. I think this was his last hurrah, his last gasp in this game, and he is now going to go down, definitely. Flash, in my view, already had a decisive lead in this game. Xavier Xavier fighting excellently, fighting back excellently, not giving up. But unfortunately, I think there was little he could do once Flash put himself in such a dominating position. And even with Flash's a slight carelessness there with his science vessels, he's still in such a strong position that there's very little Xavier can do. Flash going for another up. Xavier now building another expansion at 6 o'clock on the dot. Actually, that was the earlier expansion was more at the 5 o'clock position, but Flash is going to come out and take that out. That's actually the natural of the 5 o'clock base, and Flash's medic and marines are just going to destroy it as they go past. And Xavier this time catching the plague on all of those science vessels together, and unfortunately for him, it's a little bit too late. But I think Xavier is learning. He's getting some of that field back that he had before. But it's just, as I said, it's just a matter of time before Flash finishes off this game. A couple of you guys had commented on my comments being cut off at the end of the video in a couple of previous matches. That's because of the length of the video. I try to keep the video in 20-minute in 10-minute segments, obviously because of the limits that YouTube imposes upon me. So that's why it might seem like a couple of my comments have gotten cut off, because that's what the length of the video. But unfortunately, this video is in one of those annoying middle lengths. It's about 23.5 minutes long, so it's one of those annoying middle lengths where I can't really cut it off. I can't really make it into 2 parts, and so I'm going to have to split it into 3 parts. This one will go right down to the end. Nevertheless, great play by Flash. It's kind of sad for Xavier that he's won the lower money, because the money with each round seems to go up as you go along. Overall, Xavier thus far has won more money. He's won 1,100,000 won, and Flash has won 900,000 won. That's obviously going to go up massively after this game. The first 3 games were worth the least amount of cash, unfortunately for Xavier. And yet again, Flash with masses of irradiate all over those lurkers, and Xavier GG's, realizing that he's just too far behind, throws in the towel. GG guys, a decent game of StarCraft. I won't call it great, maybe that's my bias as a Zerg and Xavier fanboy talking. But well played Flash, looking back to his best. And Xavier, I'm still encouraged, guys. I'm still encouraged. This is Klazart. Thanks for listening.
자, 이영호 선수가 이제 마지훈 선수를 상금에서 앞서고 있는 상황. 자, 이제 상황이 진짜 재밌게 돌아가는 게 이영호 선수가 200만 원이지 않습니까? 지금 현재 200만 원을 앞서가고 있는데 마지막 경기를 마지훈 선수가 가져가면 정확히 200만 원씩 양분이에요. 그렇죠. 마지막 세트에 90만 원이 걸렸기 때문에 그렇죠. 딱딱 200만 원씩 해서 아름다운 재단에 20만 원씩 서로 이제 공평하게 기부할 수 있다는 것입니다. 예. 하지만 이영호 선수는 욕심이 나지 않을 것인데요. 그렇죠. 자, 잠시 후에 오늘의 마지막 경기 로키 투어에서 90만 원이 걸려있는 마지훈 선수와 이영호 선수의 경기를 함께 해주시기 바랍니다.